The 2026 FIFA World Cup was always going to be the biggest football tournament in history. That much was certain from the moment the expanded format was announced. But now, with the group stage finally complete and the dust settled on 12 groups worth of drama, heartbreak, and surprise, the competition is stepping into territory that has never existed before in the entire 96-year history of this tournament. A brand new knockout round, one that didn't exist 4 years ago in Qatar. One that has never appeared at any previous World Cup at any edition under any format, and one that is about to fundamentally reshape how we think about what it means to navigate the path toward lifting the most coveted trophy in global sport. So what exactly is a round of 32? Why does it matter as much as it does? Which teams have already secured their place in it? And what does its arrival mean for the teams still fighting to survive? Let's break it all down properly, starting from the very beginning. To truly understand a round of 32, you have to start with the background, because understanding why the stage exists in the first place completely changes how you watch everything that follows from here. For every World Cup held since 1998, the format operated in exactly the same way. 32 teams qualified for the tournament. Those 32 teams were divided into 8 groups of 4. The top 2 finishers from each group advanced directly into the round of 16. Third-place finishers went home. It was simple, clean, and completely familiar to anyone who had followed this competition across the last quarter century. France in 1998, Germany in 2006, Spain in 2010, Brazil in 2014, France again in 2018, Argentina in 2022. Every single one of those champions navigated that same straightforward structure. 8 groups, 16 survivors, for rounds of title. This year, everything changed. FIFA expanded the tournament to 48 teams, split across 12 groups of 4 rather than 8 groups of 4. That single decision, adding 16 nations to the field, meant the old structure simply couldn't function anymore. You cannot take 12 groups and cleanly extract a round of 16. The numbers don't work. So FIFA designed something entirely new to bridge the gap between the group stage and the round of 16, a 32-team knockout round played before the last 16. Sitting in a place in the bracket that has never existed before. The round of 32 was born not out of creative vision, but out of mathematical necessity. And yet, now that it's here, it has become one of the most compelling and consequential stages this tournament has ever featured. The qualification pathway into the round of 32 reflects the new complexity of the 48-team format in a 12-group tournament. The straightforward rule would be to take the top 2 from each group, which gives you 24 teams. But 24 doesn't reach 32. To fill out the bracket properly, FIFA added the 8 best third-place finishers from across all 12 groups, bringing the total to exactly 32. This means that finishing third in your group is no longer automatically a death sentence. If you accumulate enough points, enough goals, enough of the right results, you can finish third and still survive into the knockout rounds. That single change has had enormous consequences for how teams approach their final group stage matches, because the calculation is no longer binary. It's not simply win or go home. It's perform well enough, across enough categories, to be among the better third-place sides in the entire tournament. This creates a completely different psychological and tactical environment in the group stage. Teams that might previously have had nothing to play for in a final group match, already eliminated, already through, already certain of their fate, now face genuinely meaningful decisions. A third-place side fighting to improve their goal difference is fighting for their tournament life, and that produces exactly the kind of high-stakes, urgent football that neutrals want to watch. The expanded format has been criticized in some quarters for diluting quality, for letting in nations who arguably haven't earned their place, for stretching the competition across too many games. But the round of 32 qualification mechanism has delivered something the old format never quite managed. Almost every group stage match carrying real weight until the very end. The round of 32 is a straight single elimination round. There are no second chances, no aggregate scores, no away goals. You win, you go through to the round of 16. You lose, you fly home. 16 matches, 32 teams, 16 survivors. In that sense, it operates exactly like every other knockout round in the tournament. What makes it different is its position in the bracket and what it represents for the teams involved. For the group winners and runners-up, who have qualified automatically. This round is the first real test of whether their group stage form translates to knockout football. For the 8 third-place qualifiers, it is an immediate life-or-death examination, a chance to prove that their survival wasn't a fluke, that they deserve to be mentioned alongside the genuine contenders. The matchups in this round are determined by the group results, with group winners typically facing third-place qualifiers in arrangements designed to reward finishing higher in your group. This means that how you finish, not just whether you finish, carries direct consequences to the difficulty of your bracket. A team that finishes first in their group will face a different opponent in a round of 32 than a team that scraped through in second. The incentive to win your group, rather than simply qualify from it, has never been more tangible. Previous World Cups created that incentive in theory. This format creates it in practice, because the difference between first and second place in a group can be the difference between a winnable round of 32 fixture and an immediate clash with a tournament heavyweight. With the group stage now complete, the full list of round of 32 qualifiers is known. The major footballing nations have, for the most part, navigated the group stage without catastrophe. The traditional powers, your European giants, your South American contenders, your established African and Asian representatives, have largely done what was expected of them. But the expanded format has also done exactly what FIFA intended it to do. It has given genuine opportunities to nations who would never have reached this stage under the old 32-team structure. First-time qualifiers have made it through group stages. Nations playing in their first-ever World Cup knockout match are now preparing for round of 32 fixtures. The history being made isn't just in the new round itself. It's in the faces of the players and supporters who are experiencing moments their football cultures have never encountered before. The group stage also delivered its share of shocks among the established sides. Teams that arrived in North America with genuine title ambitions stumbled in ways they couldn't afford to. Some giants, carrying the weight of expectation from back home, found the new format's ruthlessness particularly unforgiving. With 48 teams comes 48 sets of supporters who believe their nation belongs here, and some of those beliefs turned out to be justified in ways that upset the expected order entirely. The round of 32 field is not what every pre-tournament prediction suggested it would be. It never is at a World Cup. But this year, the surprise is cut deeper and the implications stretch further than usual. Here is what gets lost in the surface-level discussion of the expanded format. The round of 32 doesn't just add a stage to the tournament. It fundamentally alters the mental and physical equation for every team still involved. Under the old structure, a team that made it through the group stage had 5 matches standing between them and the World Cup title. Now, for teams entering at the round of 32, that number is 6. 6 matches. For the very best teams in the world. The ones who will inevitably go deep into this tournament. That means one additional high-pressure knockout match before the final, played on top of the 3 group stage matches they've already contested. The cumulative demands on squads, physical, tactical, psychological, are genuinely different from anything previous World Cup participants experienced. This changes how managers think about squad rotation. It changes how medical teams manage knocks and niggles through the group stage. It changes how coaches approach substitutions in round of 32 matches, knowing that the round of 16 follows in just a few days. The teams with the deepest squads, the ones who can rotate without significant drop in quality, have an advantage that didn't exist in this form before. Conversely, the teams built around a small core of irreplaceable players face a stamina and injury management challenge that could define their tournament before the quarterfinals even arrive. The round of 32 is not just an additional match. It is an additional filter, one that tests dimensions of squad quality, the old format never quite exposed. For anyone watching without a particular allegiance, the round of 32 is an extraordinary gift. 16 knockout matches, each one carrying full elimination stakes, spread across the early knockout phase. That is 16 separate moments of pure drama. 16 occasions where a team's entire tournament comes down to 90 minutes of football, with extra time and penalties available if needed. Historically, the World Cup's most iconic moments have come in knockout rounds precisely because of that pressure, that irreversibility, that sense that something enormous is at stake and cannot be undone. The round of 32 multiplies those moments. It creates 16 new opportunities for the tournament to deliver the kind of footballing drama that people will still be discussing decades from now. There's also something genuinely moving about watching nations experience Knockout World Cup football for the first time. Some of the teams now preparing for round of 32 matches come from football cultures where reaching this stage represents the culmination of a generation's worth of development, investment, sacrifice, and belief. For their players, this isn't just another match in a long professional career. It is the match, the one they will be asked about for the rest of their lives, the one their children and grandchildren will look up. That human dimension, the meaning these games carry beyond tactics and results, is amplified rather than diluted by the expanded format. Because more nations means more of those stories, more of that specific once-in-a-generation weight that makes the World Cup unlike any other competition in sport. The round of 32 is almost upon us, and when it concludes, we will have our 16 teams remaining from the 48 who arrived in North America with dreams and ambitions and the weight of their nations behind them. Some of those 16 will be exactly who you'd expect. Others will be stories that nobody saw coming, teams that have used this new format to reach ground they have never stood on before. The path to the trophy is longer now, more demanding, more complex. But it is also more open than it has ever been. More routes exist to the final. More opportunities exist for the unexpected. And that, ultimately, is what the 2026 World Cup has always promised. Not just the biggest tournament in football history, but the most unpredictable, the most inclusive, and perhaps the most memorable. The round of 32 is where the Real story begins.